Hi, this is Jason Nash, and the following lesson is part of my Implementing Cisco Unified Computing System course. So there's a lot of cool things you can do with service profiles and identity pools, and all this makes it very flexible and very powerful. So let me give you a demo of that. Let us take a look. So jump over here, and a couple of things. I want to show you KVM access as well, and this is a great time to do two things at once. So I'm going to look at server 1. Server 1 is running Zen server. That's the profile. So let's take a look. Now, you can do KVM a couple of different ways. If you use a service profile IP address, we can come over to the service profile and do KVM console. And if I click that, it should kick me back. Let's see if it makes a liar out of me. So that worked. I wasn't sure if we would have an IP or if it would work, since I wasn't sure about the IP to the service profile or to the blade. But, so we click that. The other option is, on the actual blade itself, we have a KVM console option. The main UCS Manager screen, we have Launch KVM Manager. So if we click that, it's going to ask me for a username and password. So you can do some things with roles and user accounts to limit people to certain KVMs. And I need to do local or native. Say OK. And so we see our two service profiles here, and I can launch the KVM from there. This gives me a quick menu for KVM access without actually logging into all of UCS. But in the end, you're going to get this same screen right here. So this is Zen server. Couple of options. But what I want you to see is this is running Zen server. So let me shut him down. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to disassociate the Zen server profile off of this guy, off this blade. And then I'm going to associate the ESX profile, and we'll watch it boot. And you'll see really what the benefit of this is. So let me jump back here. It says no signal because we're now at power off stage. Power's down. So I want to go here to the service profile, and I want to disassociate service profile. Are you sure you want to do this? Why, yes. Yes, I do. And we can go over to the finite state machine, FSM, and look at some things here. It's going to run through a whole bunch of things. We can see overall status back here is configuring because it is removing that service profile. So we can take a look here, some options up here at server, faults, events, anything like that, inventory status. But we'll watch this. And what you're going to see happen is the server is going to reboot and some things are going to go into effect. And the way that service profiles are associated and disassociated is through a Linux boot environment. And what happens is the blade will do a PXE boot to the interconnect using reserved VLANs and reserved IP addresses that you never see exposed anywhere else. And it does this. It does a PXE boot. It loads a Linux environment. If you've ever seen Linux boot, it'll look very familiar. And in the end, it does all your firmware updates and changes and BIOS changes, and all that stuff happens through this PXE boot environment. Now, you don't really see it. You don't really care about it unless something goes wrong. So it's going to go through here and do a standard post test and all that. Again, if you want to watch it, you can look at status details here on the blade. We can look at the FSM, the finite state machine, so it's disassociated boot weight. You know, if you just want to sit here and watch a bar go across the screen just to make sure it makes it from one side to the other, the FSM is a good way to do that. But you'll see things like waiting for BIOS post test. And you'll see this over here as well. Here we go. You can see it loading the Linux boot environment, starting up the kernel, all that stuff. And then you'll watch it go through the rest of the boot. Unfortunately, using the UCS platform emulator, PE, we can't do fun things like this because, you know, there's really no blade to install or anything. So this is one of those gaps with PE. I'm hoping, like I think I've said before, that it'd be really cool one day to have blades be VMs and be able to spin things up and do that and really have an emulated environment. Unfortunately, we're not there yet. Let's see, none, not, no retry. Are we done? Unassociated, that means we are done. So now this blade is in a soulless state, as to say. So let's go ahead and associate a service profile. So we can do that from here, or we can do it from the service profile. Let's do it from here. It says, which one do you want to do? Well, let me remember. I'm going to do UCS ESX2. Oddly enough, ESX2 usually belongs to blade 1. ESX1 usually belongs to blade 2. You know, consistency, it's one of those things. If you select available service profiles, it's all ones that are unassociated. If I say all, it's going to ask me if I want to disassociate first. I don't want to mess with that. So let's go ahead and pick UCS ESX2. We'll say OK, and off it goes. Going back through config, we'll see FSM running amok yet again. And if we jump over to the KVM, we're going to see a process very similar to the one that we just saw, where it runs through the Pixie boot environment, loads Linux, applies the service profile, and then it'll start loading VMware. You'll see it look on the storage array or the storage fabric. Let's see, LSI is going to be internal disk. You'll also see it pull back some storage array disks. Either did it or he'll do it second when it boots. And I can tell it's our EMC array because they always start DGC, which is Data General Corporation, which is the originator of the Clarion and VNX line. So you still see DGC in front a lot of things here. Oh, there it goes doing the Linux pre-boot, so I guess we're not actually booting from SAN yet. It's a long process. It can take several minutes. Like I said, it's not overly quick. It's fast, but it's not instantaneous as it has to do these things over again. And what we found is that as UCSM matures, this is getting faster. I think they're starting to trim things out. You know, well, if I don't need to do these three things because they're already set right, I'm not going to do them. Whereas it used to just kind of blanket do everything. And now it's loading VMware. So what we've done is we disassociated the old profile, put on a VMware profile. When I did that, all the configuration came over. MAC addresses, WANs, WPNs, firmwares, settings, all that. The boot order, my NIC configurations, HBAs, all that stuff. And I didn't show you this on the profiles, but we have completely different network configurations for Zen Server. I think I have 4 NICs there against VMware, where I think we carve up like 6 NICs or something like that. But due to the power of those VIC cards, we can just kind of figure this out and do whatever we want to do. And that shows you the power of service profiles. So with that, I think we're done with this lab. Let's go ahead and jump back to the slide deck.
Thanks for watching. For more information regarding our training videos, please visit www.trainsignal.com.